Wolotion.
Look up on the wall. There on the floor. Under the pillow. Behind the door. There's a crack in the mirror.
Good morning and welcome in on another fantastic Monday. We have a lot to talk about and not a lot of time to do it. The breaking news that is sweeping the nation right now is that Florian Balogun is right now, as it stands, officially able to play in tonight's knockout game against Belgium. But there is a lot about that story that's unraveling, that's unfolding. We're going to be talking a lot about just the entirety of that story, from the red card to it being overturned, how the whole process went about, what was wrong with it, what was good with it, and just kind of getting a take on what everything was all about today. We're going to be also talking a lot about that with Mike DeCourcy in our middle segment today, as he has been following the World Cup very, very closely. So we're definitely going to get his take on all of that and so much more. But before we do that, there is another, not as big because of everything that's going on in the World Cup, but there is something else that's still going on out there, and that is off-season in the NBA is kicking off, and it is going, I would say, pretty well so far. We know that the Grizzlies have made their draft selections, and the big two names is Cameron Boozer and Kareem Lopez, and we're going to kind of see, especially Boozer and Kareem Lopez, and we're going to kind of see, especially later on this week with all the basketball guests that we have, kind of see what that's going to look like in the future for the Grizzlies, seeing that John Moran has been traded. What does that look like? What does this starting lineup look like? What are the expectations for the Grizzlies going on in this year? But the big name in basketball is the big name that's kind of deciding where on earth he's going to be playing next year, and that is LeBron James. LeBron has opened going into the the offseason by stating that he was open to every team in the NBA. Now, if you have a brain in your noggin, you know that that's not true. There's clearly teams out there that LeBron was never going to entertain going to, hence here being one of those places. I do not think that the Memphis Grizzlies were on his list of destinations, nor do I think he would have gone to the Wizards or Sacramento or anything like that. So we know that that was kind of just a ploy to say, I'm open to a lot of teams, maybe not all of the teams. So we officially got an ESPN article that was released in which LeBron James's agent put on a whiteboard 10 teams for him to possibly join and actually look at joining. That would actually make a lot more sense than just every team in the NBA. So these are the 10 teams in which his agent listed out that LeBron James is likely thinking about joining in this upcoming basketball season. The very first one is the 76ers. The 76ers are looking to be a absolute powerhouse this offseason with the acquisition of Jaylen Brown from the Celtics. And just you look at the starting roster of this team through and through, and this team is going to look good. You got Tyrese Maxey, VJ Edgecombe, Jaylen Brown, Joel Embiid, and then potentially a LeBron James in that starting lineup. That would be a dangerous team. The Philadelphia 76ers would be a very, very dangerous team if that were to be the case.
That's my vote.
That's your vote. Okay.
Yeah, hello, people. This is Darian Newsom. How are you?
Oh, yeah.
That's totally 100% my vote. Like, as of right now, Dean Wade is in that power forward spot. If you put LeBron James at that spot, and furthermore, I know you got a list, and we all love lists, but furthermore, he's not going to catch Michael. So what else can you do from an NBA historic standpoint to stand yourself out? Do you know how many players have 4 championships with different teams?
4 championships with different teams.
Not many, good sir. That's the point. And the 76ers have not won in 43 years. So the ballyhoo that the New York Knicks just got, imagine if LeBron slid into their 4th spot, brought Philadelphia a championship. You go ring the bell, the Philadelphia Liberty Bell.
Decades at a time. 53 for the Knicks and now 43 for the 76ers. Hey, I like it. That would be pretty good. I can't say that I will say this. There are some teams in which I do not think LeBron James would be a good fit, I think 76ers, to your point, would be a good fit.
76ers 100%.
I think that-
Who's number 2 on your list? Who's the best fit for you?
For me,
Not where you want to see him go, best fit. Because I'm strictly going best fit. Where he should go is obviously Cleveland.
I'll probably get my answer at the bottom of this list once I actually fully look through all of it and kind of see his pairings. Because the next one, which seems to be a favorite and kind of the most popular decision, is the Golden State Warriors. You'd have Curry, Podzimski, LeBron James, Draymond Green. I don't know why they would have Draymond Green on here. Isn't he the one that literally just opted out and is free
to make
agent?
room, yeah.
Yeah. And then Kristaps Porzingis. So I don't know why Draymond is still on that starting lineup. This article was released
He's gonna
16
sign
hours
it.
ago. But yeah, he might. It'd be really weird to see Draymond anywhere else. It'd be hilarious to see Draymond in a Memphis Grizzlies uniform.
Well, we had a similar issue up here at Sports 56 when you arrived a few years ago. I renegotiated so we can afford you.
Yeah. Well, welcome back, because things are changing. Times are changing. That is number 2 on the list. Then a potential of him going back to the Cleveland Cavaliers with Harden, Donovan Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jarrett Allen, and LeBron James being in the mix for that team. I wouldn't hate it, but I also don't love it because I just don't know how well Harden and LeBron James would work out with each other. I think Donovan Mitchell and LeBron James would work out really well, but I don't know about James Harden. The other potential is the Miami Heat, going back to the Heat. And I hope that if he does go back to the Heat, that he wears number 6. I like him in number 6. Maybe I'm in the minority, but
100% 6.
I think that just looks a lot better on him than 23 ever did. Davion Mitchell, Andrew Wiggins, Giannis, and then Bam Adebayo with LeBron in the mix. You could convince me on that. I'm not over the moon about it.
I'm not Mr. Conspiracy Theory, but when you talk about the Heat, I can't help but think if he goes there, there has to be some kind of handshake agreement or plan to get Bronny there, right?
Oh, probably.
He doesn't want to be in LA without his dad.
No, I don't think so. And honestly, I'm glad you bring that up, because honestly, what this is LeBron deciding and probably asking his family, where do you want to live next year? Do you want to go back and live in Miami? Do you want to live in Philadelphia? Do you want to live back in Cleveland? I mean, it's basically what he's asking right now, because he can join any of these teams. He's good enough to do that, but I don't know. The next potential team is the Minnesota Timberwolves. You'd have him alongside LaMelo Ball, still an outlandish trade in my eyes. Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, and Rudy Gobert with LeBron James in the mix with that. I mean, that would be a great team. I just don't know if that's the ideal landing spot for LeBron right now. This one, I'm not over the moon about. I could see how it could work, but him potentially joining the Denver Nuggets with Jamal Murray, Cameron Johnson, Aaron Gordon, and of course the Joker. And then you also have LeBron on the court there. I don't know. I mean, Denver obviously needs to do something different. They need to bring in and do something. They need to change something, because since they last won a championship, they have made it back to the playoffs on a consistent basis, and Joker's always going to be in the MVP running. But I don't know if that solution is a old LeBron James joining their team to get them over that hump. I'm just not crazy about that addition for that team, mainly because I don't even know what the Nuggets are doing. You still have Jonas on a contract, and then you go out and you sign Marvin Bagley Jr., which doesn't make sense to me, because if you looked at the postseason of how they utilized everybody, they kept Jokic on the court for 95% of the game. So what's the point of adding more bigs, or quote unquote bigs, if you're not going to utilize them?
2 words, sir. Aaron Gordon. Injury riddled. That's what they're doing. That's for Aaron Gordon.
Yeah, but then why have Jonas? Set him free. Send him back to Europe. Let him have fun. Let him play out his last days or something. So, if you're gonna do,
that's a solid backup role, though.
It is, but why didn't you use him? Is my big thing, and I don't know, and that's something maybe we'll talk to Andy Schiffman with about on Friday. That's a long way away, so let's just focus on the now, I guess. Another potential joining spot for LeBron in their list of 10 is the New York Knicks.
He said
Jalen-
that one's out though.
Yeah, I mean
Or at least
Brunson,
his agent Rich Paul
Bridges,
did.
OG Anunoby, and Cat, and then LeBron James in that mix.
I've actually heard that they would want him to come off the bench in New York. No, sir.
Yeah, I don't think that's a part of his contract. I think his contract is kind of like Vin Diesel's in The Rocks in movies saying they can't lose a fight and you can't bring LeBron James off the bench. I think that's kind of set in stone there. So I don't think that's going to work. The Celtics with Derek White, Paul George, Jason Tatum, and Mitchell Robinson. I don't know if LeBron would want to go to Boston right now. I wouldn't be shocked if the Celtics still do good this year. Most of that had to do with Jaylen Brown carrying the weight of this team while Jason Tatum was out. But I don't see LeBron.
No, that's a no.
No, I don't see that. Nor do I really see. Well, okay, well I say that maybe the Mavericks. Kyrie Irving, Max Christie, Cooper Flagg, Daniel Gafford, and LeBron James. I think that would be a stretch, but a potential reuniting with Kyrie Irving is the only thing that leads me to think.
I'm going to be your conscience and say too young. Like that team's not ready to win.
No, they are too young. They are way too young.
So you got any more? Is that your list? I got something for you.
Literally, Kyrie is the only one that would be, I think, the driving force there. And then the final team would be the San Antonio Spurs. You'd have De'Aaron Fox, Stephon Castle, Devin Vassell, LeBron, and then Victor. I mean, that would be just a stellar team. That would be like,
and they have Tobias Harris, so they signed him as a free agent.
Yeah, so that
looks good.
The Spurs and the Sixers would be super teams.
You sold me on Minnesota. When you actually said Minnesota out loud, you sold me on Minnesota. But I can't see him in a jersey with the Timberwolves on it. But I got one more for you.
I can't see a Timberwolves jersey.
I got a big sleeper for you, one that nobody has said. And I'll give it to you. I can't see him in a Washington Wizards jersey, but if you have Trae Young, AJ DeBonsa, Alex Sarr, which I would think would go to the bench if you insert LeBron there, his best friend or one of his best friends, Anthony Davis, who he wanted for Golden State, and then DeAndre Ayton. Now you actually have a great bench. You slide LeBron James in there. That team is awfully dangerous if they stay healthy. That's the iffy deal with that one.
That is a big if,
but that's a big team, dude.
I mean, honestly, it would also kind of help LeBron James's career to go and do what Michael never did when he joined the Wizards. It would kind of be a statement. Now, of course, the roster you have right now at the Wizards, like you're describing,
their roster's fabulous.
It way better than it usually has been. They just need a jersey upgrade, and you're there. Because those might be some of the ugliest jerseys I think I've ever seen in the NBA right now.
I'm still sold on Philadelphia. Nothing sits with me more than him being historic in another big market, and everything reads Philadelphia, but I can't see him doing it.
Yeah. I think I like the 76ers the most.
He doesn't have to do any heavy lifting.
Teams, no. I think it would be a good mesh with all of them.
Absolutely. And he would also, think about it, Joel Embiid's issue is staying healthy. Mm-hmm. That's one of the things that Anthony Davis kind of leaned on LeBron, the workout regimen, the year-round treatment. What if Joel Embiid played 70 games, dude?
You can ask that for a good handful of players in the NBA. What if they just kept playing games instead of sitting out?
I think he's legit injured. He's just injury riddled. That's all.
I don't think the Heat is. I don't think that's feasible because not only the Heat put basically all their eggs in the Giannis basket. They gave up just about every little pick that they had, and when it comes to cap space, it's basically out. They don't have the money to pay LeBron to come over there. Him with the Cavs, just that he went there. Went back and won.
You cannot have a better ending than Cleveland. This is for you. Don't do it.
I can't see him there. Golden State just seems to be everyone's popular destination for him. And look, it wouldn't be bad. It wouldn't be bad for the combination of players he would be with. And on top of that, his family's already out in LA. So it's not a big move for him. They can all basically stay in the same area. technically speaking, Bronny could stay in LA with the Lakers and, still see Pop every now and again as he goes and plays in Golden State. So that one makes sense. If he does go to Philadelphia, I would imagine Bronny would probably have to tag along with him and join the G League or something like that. Timberwolves would be good. I don't think Nuggets. I don't think Knicks, nor Celtics, nor Mavericks. And Spurs, it's number 10, but that would be a great addition for
I
them.
would give
I just
the
don't know
Spurs
where.
more legs if they had Greg Popovich.
Yeah, and I don't know where the Spurs are at with cap space or anything like that either. Like, I don't know if they could afford a LeBron James right now, unless it's something where LeBron James just is dying to want to go to San Antonio and wants to join up with this team and will take a little bit of a pay cut. I mean, at what point do you get there and you say, I am LeBron James, I have enough money, and now I'm just doing it for the love of the game?
Well, I got an update for you. The San Antonio Spurs cap space, $34 million, bud. You can sign LeBron for 20, 25 a year.
Oh, yeah, you absolutely could. That,
You got to think they are awfully young. Like the Vassales, Wemby, Harper, those guys, Castle, none of them are getting paid. None of them.
That's true.
Tobias Harris. Oh, and De'Aaron Fox. De'Aaron Fox and Tobias Harris may be their two highest paid players.
Yeah, I mean it's a potential. I think they could do it. They could probably do it.
He's not going to play for Mitch. He's older than Mitch, man. Probably older than a lot
he's
of the
older.
coaches.
Well,
but
yeah, I was about to say he's older than JJ Redick, and you just played with him with the Lakers.
that was a relationship. They had a podcast together. But I think if Popovich was at San Antonio, that would give it a lot of credence, but not with Mitch.
I'd have to agree with you there. Well, I guess those are all the potentials right now for LeBron, at least according to his agent of what they've listed out as far as potential teams that he could be joining. You and I like the 76ers matchup. Spurs could definitely be in the mix with that as well. I think you can add Golden State in with that mix too.
If they make a move to get AD, speaking of Golden State, I think you're cooking. But without AD, I don't think they have a chance.
I don't know. There's still a lot of moves to be made for the offseason. There's still a lot of moves there's still just a lot of moves to be made and a lot of things to be decided. So it should be pretty interesting. Well, before we move on and talk extensively with Mike DeCourcy on the state of what's going on in the World Cup right now, the big news is what's going on with Florian Balogun oh my goodness, Folarin. I've been calling him
Let's call him Flo.
I've been calling him Florian for forever. I don't know why. I guess it just kind of blurs together. But Balogun getting his one-game suspension overturned, and kind of all of the backlash that is being faced. So this is what I understand about it right now. The masses agree that it was a terrible red card call. They don't agree that it was. And initially when the play occurred, that there was no foul on the play. There was no penalty. There was nothing that the referees warranted anything card-wise for that interaction. When the ball was coming into play, they both go for the ball. Balogun's leg, he goes for the ball, ends up clipping the dude's calf all the way down to his ankle. And then from there, it was just... the VAR system, the video assisted referee, made a call to say, hey, let's review that and let's take a closer look at it. And so they do, and they come to a place where they say they judge the intentionality of it, the intensity of it, and upgraded it to a red card. Now, a lot of people, many of them Americans, of course, we all see that and we say, what? Like, no, like maybe a yellow card. Like, yeah, he did clip the dude's ankle, but clearly they were both going for the ball. It was just a physical play. And so yellow card, sure. Red card, that was a bit excessive. So at first there was nothing. Then there was a red card at play. And so now he's out. And so now I think two things can be true at once. I think overall, the big win was potentially the big win was that it was overturned. I think a lot of people were not happy in the way in which it was done. So the way in which it was done was that President Trump made an executive call to FIFA asking them to review the red card, and then they took a look at it and then undid the decision to remove.
They suspended the red card for 1 year.
They suspended the red card. So basically, the dude is free to play soccer, which Donald Trump takes to social media and says thank you for doing what was right, reversing this great injustice. And so a lot of people, I think, had a problem with saying that, well, if it starts here, then where does it end?
Can I jump in with you?
Jump in, please.
People, it did not start there. FIFA has done this on several occasions. It's not often. Most recently, do you have the Cristiano Ronaldo deal? Are you about to tell us that? Do you have that?
Yes.
Okay, go for it. Okay. I didn't know if you had that piece because it's not new. It's just that we only pay attention to soccer once every 4 years and the rules just blow our minds. But, hey.
Yeah. So the whole story with that is that Cristiano Ronaldo had a red card and he was going to be suspended for 3 games. Now, after he served his 1-game suspension, the FIFA looked at it and rescinded those other 2, which allowed Ronaldo to play this year in the FIFA World Cup, allowed him to do so. So that was an example of an overturning. I think a lot of examples as well that a lot of people were talking about was the truth behind what Messi had done in the game earlier with Balogun basically doing the exact same thing where Messi they were both
more egregious.
It was, and they were both quote unquote making a play for the ball, but Messi got the guy.
Messi was looking at him. Lauren was not even making eye contact with the guy he injured.
And so here's the thing, and here's like my big stance on the whole matter. So when it comes to the VAR system, what it is it's the video assistant referee. What it's used for is it is checking for goals. It's checking for offsides, handballs, fouls, attacking buildup that should have disallowed the goal. It looks for penalties, determining whether a penalty should or should not have been awarded, red cards, reviewing incidences of serious foul play, violent conduct, or denying an obvious goal-scoring opportunity, or if, there's a mistaken identity where there's a wrong call on the field or whatever, you can use it for that as well. Here is where the VAR was misused when it came to looking at what Balogun did. It said that it relied on slow motion replays and still images to assess the intensity of an accidental 50-50 challenge. Protocol dictates intensity to be judged at normal speed, but slow-mo made the incident look intentionally brutal. I think the big problem is that, yes, that is exactly what they did. At first, there was no call for a penalty. The referee did not think any of that was warranted. Then the VAR system says, no, we need to take a closer look at this. Then they use the slow-mo, the still images. And, of course, when you look at it in slow-mo and you see a dude's ankle being buckled under the pressure of somebody stepping on him when they're going for the ball, Balogun's not going to just pitter patter with the soccer ball and just try to lightly tap it. No, he's going in there to try to kick and stop the ball or whatever it is he's doing. So of course there's going to be a lot of force with that. I think where a lot of people have a problem is that they see that and they say, okay, if this committee or if this political move or stunt or whatever they want to call it, starts here, then where's it going to end? Like, for example, I can't remember the fella's name in the England game who got a red card, but a lot of people were trying to make a case of like saying, oh, okay, so now are we just going to appeal every single red card? If we don't believe that it's a red card, then should it still be a red card? And I think we're blowing that out of proportion. I think the main reason of why this was overturned is because the VAR system was misused and mishandled when it was applied to Balogun. I don't think it had anything to do with the intensity or the severity of what happened on the pitch. I think it had to do with how this thing was misused, and so it was undone because it was improperly used against Balogun. So I don't think it has to do with the actual what happened on the field of play. I don't think it had to do with what actually happened in that moment in time. I think it had to do with the misproper usage of VAR are in that time frame.
You're 100% right, dude. And I got two more opinions for that.
Yes.
It's not a friendly. We're looking at the stage that we're on.
Right.
So I think that obviously came into play because when you look at Ronaldo was about to be suspended for
3 games.
It was World Cup play. It wasn't World Cup play. What's before that?
It was
I guess league play or whatnot, but it wasn't friendlies. It wasn't friendlies that he was suspended for. The second piece is you're on U.S. soil, baby. I think if we're in Morocco, I think if we're in Saudi Arabia, none of the conversation doesn't even come up because you talked about appeal. There was actually no appeal. We just have to accept the red card. Like you said, hey, once you get the red card, you're out.
And I'm glad you brought that up too, because Belgium actually this morning has been granted the right to appeal FIFA's controversial decision to overturn Balogun's 1-game suspension. They can appeal it up until I can't remember when they said it was no longer going to be able to be
we're going to find a judge. Just take it to court, right? Isn't that what we say? You want to get an injunction, take it to court, baby.
I guess if it's a judge here, then Balogun's already he's the FIFA MVP, I guess, if you want to go that far. But I think right now they have been granted the right to appeal that decision, and we'll talk more with Mike DeCourcy here in just a second about all that. I just realized we never did medals, but I guess we had too much to talk about where we're just not even going to have time to do. No, I mean, it's all basically the same thing. Quick shout out to, before I guess we hit a break, is quick shout out to something that I would never want to pursue in my life, nor would I ever think about wanting to be the best at. And that's what Joey Chestnut does for 18 consecutive years, downing 67 hot dogs. I mean, here's the beautiful and yet just absolutely insane feat of what he did. Joey Chestnut could have stopped at 51 and won, but for the love of the game and I guess not wanting to risk falling behind, he proceeded to go more because second place only ate 50.
So what did he finish with? I'm not familiar.
67.
How many?
67 hot dogs. He ate 67 hot dogs. I don't even know the time frame. I just know that's way too many, and I don't think anybody needs to consume that many hot dogs in their life, but is there
a Schmidt in your family that can eat 50 hot dogs like Joey Chestnut?
I don't think so. I really don't think so. But that's even the sad part. Imagine going to this competition and eating 50 hot dogs and you lose by 17. I don't know. Joey Chestnut has got to be the eighth wonder of the world, or however many wonders there are. He's got to be one of them. But on the other side, we got to talk a lot more about this Balogun decision, the stuff in the state of the World Cup, with the man who's been following it really closely. That is Mike DeCourcy. He comes your way in just a second.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Guns, guns, and more guns. Over 700 firearms in stock. Home defense guns, old guns, new guns, used guns, big guns, little guns. Every gun you can think of, Classic Arms has them. All brands like Glock, Sig, Colt, Ruger, Smith & Wesson, Browning, Beretta, Benelli, Remington, Winchester, and more. Guaranteed lowest prices in town. Only gun importer in the Mid-South. Free gun inspections and appraisals and free bore sighting for the upcoming deer season. Shop online at ClassicArmsOfMemphis.com or visit Classic Arms at 1740 Germantown Parkway behind Corky's Barbecue in Cordova.
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. Do you know what Penny Hardaway and I have in common? We should both be in that building celebrating the best basketball players of all time. Of course, I'll have to buy a ticket to get in, but he should already be there. But seriously, we both surround ourselves with the best people we can find. We work hard to achieve our goals, and we are both among the best in our respective fields. At Five Ash, we can't win titles or get national awards, but what we can and do strive to do is give 100% of ourselves to give you the best product possible and one you can be proud of. So if you need a roof, siding, or gutters, give us a call at 901-367-0050, and we will do everything we can to provide you the best of everything. Five Ash Roofing. Fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com. 367-0050 or MemphisRoofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you. Of everything that is
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Gabe Woloshin.
When you are gone, I turn to stone.
Welcome back in to Wolo and Friends. Landon here filling in for Wolo this week. And right now, we have to continue our conversation with everything that's going on in the World Cup. And this morning, Mike, the big news that happened yesterday was the announcement of the undoing of the one-game suspension of Balogun. A lot of people saying that from the get-go that this red card should not have been a red card. So let's first just start there. What did you make of the decision to kind of overturn what was deemed as really nothing, no really any kind of foul play, to using the VAR system to then it being upgraded to a red card? What did you make of that decision in that game?
Well, the original decision was a terrible one, and
Yes.
it on a night when the referee had a terrible night. He allowed. Look, Bosnia didn't play dirty. Don't get me wrong. I don't want anybody to think that I thought they played dirty, but they pushed every situation to beyond the boundaries of the rules. I mean, they didn't play dirty, but every jersey they could get a hold of, they did. Every chance they got to knock down a U.S. player, they did. And the punishment for a 90-plus minute game of that was one single yellow card. It was a game in which probably 5 to 6 yellow cards were warranted in order to calm that down, to keep those jersey grabs. If you do that and you get a yellow, you can't do it again, because if you do it again and get caught, then it's a second yellow and you're gone, and Bosnia would know that, and that's why you apply those cards in those circumstances. The referee allowed it to go on and on. So we're around the 64th minute, and Anthony Robinson pops a little pass down the line to Fuller and Balogun, and the Bosnia defender muscles him on the attempt to receive it, and Balogun tries to stay upright, and he places his foot wrong. And that is not a red card in soccer. It's just not. He was being fouled. Although they didn't call a foul, he was being contacted. You can say they were both going for the ball, but Balogun had the inside track to that ball until the player threw him aside, basically. And so he gets that foot placement wrong. And what ended up happening was, as I wrote about in my column, I said the slow motion replay made it look like something from a Freddy Krueger film. It was awful. Don't get me wrong. I mean, it was bad, but it wasn't. There was no intent. If you watch the England-Mexico game on Sunday night, Jarrell Quansah from England was ejected from the game because he made a tackle, and it was a legitimate tackle, but it was done recklessly. If he makes the same tackle and keeps his studs down and doesn't contact the opponent's leg, it's a great tackle. But because he kept his leg up and he went right into the opponent's calf or shin, that had to be red carded, and so it was. That's the difference. You either have to be reckless, careless, or frankly, mendacious there in order to get a yellow card, and Fuller and Balogun was none of the three.
Yeah, and yes, and I fully agree. And it seems that the masses also agree that that was not a red card call, that did not warrant a red card. And so the fact that it was already kind of stirred the pot to where a lot of people were saying, well, that shouldn't have been the call. Now we're in a place where when it was called, that then, President Trump goes out there, makes the call to FIFA, and then the call is overturned. And now everybody's enraged by the overturning of the red card. What do you make of why people are so upset with the overturning of his suspension?
Well, I think that Trump's public posturing brought politics into this. And in fact, it most likely would have been overturned without his involvement. And as a matter of fact, I mean, we can't say for sure because he did involve himself and it did get overturned, so we can't say for sure what all moved it. But the U.S. was already in the process of considering or exploring the avenue, according to the New York Post, Mark Cannizzaro, a friend of mine, terrific reporter, who it is covering the game in Seattle, and he found out that the U.S. Soccer Federation had explored the possibility of taking this to the Court of Arbitration for Sport because FIFA, for reasons that are just unfathomable, if you commit a foul, a red card foul, or you are called for a red card foul in the Premier League, La Liga in Spain, Serie A in Italy, Major League Soccer here in the U.S., any of those leagues, if you are called for a red card foul, you have the avenue for appeal regarding your suspension. If it happens in the 64th minute like this, your team's still finishing the game with 10 guys, but you have the option to appeal it. And for reasons that I just don't understand, and I should hope that this circumstance leads them to change their policy, there is no avenue for appeal in the World Cup through FIFA, through a disciplinary board or whatever. It's ridiculous that they don't have one. So the U.S. talked about going over FIFA's head, and FIFA realized that the red card had been wrongly applied. It was only applied, as I mentioned, those slow motion replays that made it look so bad. Well, those aren't supposed to be used for that purpose.
Right.
Slow motion, according to FIFA and the VAR guidelines, video assistant referee guidelines, though you are supposed to use slow motion to determine when something happened.
Right.
Did the ball get there before the foul happened? Those kinds of things. And they did not use that here. They used it to determine the severity of the foul. Boy, it looks really bad in slow motion, doesn't it? That's not supposed to happen.
Right.
And so there was a chance that FIFA was going to lose this in the CAS, and they didn't want it to happen. They didn't want to get overturned on their own field. So they decided to do it themselves.
Yeah. And this was something that Darian and I were just talking about here is I believe that the overturning, and it's exactly like what you just said, that definitely just backed up my point, was the problem here was not the severity or the intentionality behind whatever happened on the pitch. It was the misusage of the VAR system that was applied to Balogun's situation. Like you were saying, that they were not supposed to rely on slow motion replays and still images to assess the intensity of an accidental. They were only supposed to use it, like you said, to determine when something was happened, that all of those calls were supposed to be made in real-time speed. And if you look at it in real-time speed, it looks like two guys are making a play for the ball and then they fall down on top of each other. Slow-mo definitely made that look worse, like you were saying. But I think, honestly, and I think that's where a lot of people are maybe taking things a little bit out of proportion, is they're looking at it and they're saying, oh no, that was a really egregious play by Balogun, and so now if we're overturning this red card, then where does it end? Or where?
Oh, that's honestly, that is a ridiculous.
Yes, it absolutely is. I completely agree.
Anyone who says that does not know the sport. It's that simple.
And it's all the foreign coaches who are just like looking at this from a bird's eye view of saying, like, I can't believe that they're doing this. It must be April Fool's or whatever it looks like. I don't think they fully understand that this was a reversal of a misapplied VAR system.
Well, when the Belgium coach said, I thought it was April Fool's, he's saying that with the understanding that there is no review process, there is no appeal process. I get that, but if you say that this was a red card, then and that no such foul could ever be overturned, it ignores that it happens in every league in the world.
Right.
It's not common, and there's a couple of reasons. If you do it in MLS, if you appeal a red card, you get to do it twice. It's like the ball strike system. You're allowed, or the replay system in NFL. You're allowed to get it wrong twice, but after you get it wrong twice, then you're not allowed any more replays for the season. And that includes, like, if you're in Major League Soccer, that includes the playoffs. So you better make sure you got one left when you go into the playoffs, or else there's a possibility you could lose a player on a terrible call and have no avenue for appeal. So that's why it's so rare. And in Europe, in England, in the Premier League, if you appeal and they think your appeal is specious, they can extend the suspension. So again, you got to be really right. You either got to be just a little wrong or just a little right.
Mm-hmm.
You can't be really wrong or you're in big trouble. So all of that says that this should have been reviewable. If you're going to have on the field a video review system to correct on-field mistakes, why would you not have a review system to correct mistakes made by both of them?
Right. No, I completely agree. And on that topic of appeal, I did read that that FIFA has granted Belgium the right to appeal this decision to overturn Balogun's one-game suspension. What do you make of Belgium being able to practice that, and do you think that's even going to lead anywhere?
I don't know. It's hard to know because I certainly didn't see this one coming. I certainly didn't think
I agree.
that the suspension. I was sitting there yesterday planning when all the games were done, England and all that, to go and sit at my computer and write a story for this morning about Ricardo Pepi finally getting his chance to start a World Cup game after missing in 2022 and then finally getting the chance here. That's what I was all set to write. So I did not at all anticipate him getting to play. I'd be surprised if it were overturned now. Because there's really no precedent for an overturn in these circumstances.
Right.
It's pretty rare that these punishments are withdrawn or suspended, so to speak. He has to be clean for the next year to avoid perhaps a longer suspension. It was also true with Cristiano Ronaldo, Moses Caicedo of Ecuador. They all had suspensions limited or eliminated or delayed in order that they could play in this World Cup. And so the outrage is a little bit, I said this on Twitter that like UEFA, this is incomprehensible and unbelievable and all this stuff. And I'm like, didn't say a word, not one word when Cristiano Ronaldo had 2 games worth of a suspension lifted so he could play in group play for Portugal. He'd be back now if he hadn't had his suspension lifted, but he was allowed to play all the group games and the knockout game from so far, and will be permitted to play this afternoon against Brazil. None of that impacted it. The fact that he was thrown a 3-game suspension for an elbow incident in a World Cup qualifier against Ireland, that was wiped out. So I don't see. Like I said, this is not the way it should be done, but it's the correct result through the wrong process.
Yes. I fully agree. And even to your point of that, a lot of people are also pointing to the whole Messi incident, which his little quote unquote incident was way worse than what Balogun did against Bosnia. And yet nobody batted an eyelash when it came to assessing any kind of non-penalty there. So I don't know. There's always going to be problems. No one's ever going to be happy. And I think the uproar is just a little bit ridiculous. I think a lot of people are just mad that I guess the appeal was done in the manner in which it was, that it was more of a White House going over people's heads to get to FIFA, and a lot of people mad about the FIFA president giving Trump, the what is it, the newly awarded FIFA Peace Prize to Donald Trump. I mean, I think there's just a lot of people blowing these things kind of out of proportion, but at its simplest level, the improper usage of VAR to upgrade something that was originally called a no foul to a foul to now it being rightfully overturned back to where Balogun is allowed to play, I think is just as deep as the story needs to go. So now that you and I are basically on the same page with all of this, we can actually look forward to the actual game itself and kind of get your take on where do you think this game between the United States and Belgium is going to go tonight?
Well, I think it depends on the way the U.S. approaches the game. If they come out with the kind of aggression, I mean, it can't be quite as aggressive as they were against Paraguay because Belgium has much more ability to counter itself. Jeremy Doku is one of the best players in the world. That they have had some really terrific players at Belgium. Some of them are getting a little bit older and aren't quite the players they used to be, but they still, Kevin De Bruyne still has the possibility of remembering what it's like to be Kevin De Bruyne at 30 or 22 or whatever age. I think he's 34 now. He will be a different player, but he might have that moment. And so you have to be more careful. But I still think you need to be aggressive. I think you need to attack a defense that's not necessarily extraordinary. What has made this U.S. team great through the course of this World Cup has been the willingness to play aggressive, creative soccer. Mm-hmm. It's something that 4 years ago we saw a U.S. team possess the ball like it never had before. And that was the contribution from Greg Berhalter to American soccer. They could own the game. They could possess the game possess the ball even against a team like England, where it was pretty close to 50-50, but did favor the U.S. in terms of possession. Well, this team has been to date more offensively aggressive than any team that they've played, and they have the ability to do that again tonight. And I think they need to do that. And of course, when you're aggressive offensively, you need to create chances and you need to finish them. You got to get the ball in the net. And if they do that, I think they're a better team than Belgium is right now. Not a lot better, but I think they're better. And I think at home, that's an advantage. But as we saw last night in Mexico City, the home field doesn't do it all for you. You still have to make the plays. And Mexico wasn't able to handle Jude Bellingham, and that made the difference in that game. The U.S. has to be ready for Tielemans, for De Bruyne if he can find this moment, and certainly for Doku, who remains among the best players.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll definitely be keeping our eyes locked on the screen tonight for this highly anticipated matchup, especially with all of the quote-unquote drama that is now surrounding this game with the return of Balogun. But as always, Mike, it is such a pleasure to talk with you. Wolo will be back with us next week, but we appreciate talking with you today, and you have a great rest of your day, all right?
My pleasure. Thank you.
Absolutely. That is our man, Mike DeCourcy, talking extensively about the World Cup. But we have to shift gears just real quickly with the limited time that we have left and talking a lot of golf, and that's with Ted Butler. He comes your way next.
Did you miss your favorite Sports 56 show? No! Check out the podcast, broken down hourly at sports56whbq.com or wherever you get your podcasts. Be sure to like and subscribe. Never miss any Sports 56 show again with our podcasts available daily from Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Rick's Powder Coating, for a beautiful finish every time. Rick's Powder Coating specializes in automotive, ornamental, residential, and industrial coating. With 2 conveyor lines and the largest batch ovens in the Mid-South, Rick's can accommodate all of your powder coating needs. Locally owned and operated since 2002, Rick's Powder Coating will customize a beautiful finish just for you. Drop by or call to see how Rick's Powder Coating can bring color to your life. 901-367-2771 or rickspowdercoating.com.
Hello, I'm Ford Canale of Canale Funeral Directors. For more than a century, the Canale family has been honored to serve Memphis families during life's most difficult moments. In fact, Canale Funeral Directors is proud to be the oldest continually operating business in Memphis, built on a tradition of compassion, dignity, and personal service. When a family places their trust in us, we understand it's about much more than arrangements. It's about celebrating a life, honoring cherished memories, and providing comfort when it's needed most. Whether you're planning ahead or facing an immediate need, our experienced and caring staff is here to guide you every step of the way. From our family to yours, thank you for allowing us to serve generations of Memphis families with the respect and attention they deserve. Canale Funeral Directors, quietly caring since 1843.
To NST, it's never just another case. It's your shot at getting life back on track. Real help, real heart. 35 years and still winning. NST is the way to go. Call 683-7000 or go online at nstlaw.com.
Now back to Wolo and Friends on Sports 56. Here once again is the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin.
Welcome back into Wolo and Friends. Landon Schmidt here filling in for Wolo this week. We have to switch our conversation just a little bit to talk about the world of golf and the state of the PGA Tour. And right now we had a very exciting John Deere Classic in which we declared our winner to be Chris Gotterup. So, Ted Butler, what did you make of the John Deere Classic, and what do you think about our new champion in Chris Gotterup?
Well, good morning. I think he's got a future star, and the way this thing started, he called 3 years ago, called John Deere and asked for a sponsor exemption, and they said okay, and he said, "I will make you proud." So 3 years later, he wins the John Deere, and it's a great story. Great story, and he's won 3 times this year. He's a budding star.
Yeah, I mean, it's been really impressive to see guys like Chris Gotterup this year, because one thing that I've noticed with the PGA, and of course, when you have a tournament like the John Deere Classic and like what we're going to have coming up this week with the what is it this week? It is the
Scottish Open.
The Scottish Open.
Right.
When you have, I mean, things like that going back to back. I mean, and speaking of Chris Gotterup, him being the defending champion of the Scottish Open, I've been seeing, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, Ted, but there's been a lot of names at the top of the leaderboard that you don't normally and typically see competing week in and week out with these championships. A lot of names, like, for example, just the John Deere Classic. I mean, you got Lucas Glover. I can't remember the last time I've seen him near the top. Lee Hodges. I can't remember the last time I've seen him near the top. You go back a little bit to the Open, and not saying it was crazy, but guys like Tom Kim, Keith Mitchell, Joaquin Neiman, like all of these names of guys that you don't typically see are, near the top of the leaderboard and competing week in and week out. What have you made of all of these guys making big strides this year in the PGA?
Well, there's just so many good players out there, and when the big stars like Scotty and Rory and them don't show up for a tournament like this, somebody's going to come up.
Mm-hmm.
The story of Ben Coles, that was a gut wrencher on 18 for him to, be in the middle of the fairway and just needs a par to tie and a birdie to win, and he hooks it in the water, and you think, yikes.
Yeah.
And the second time he's done that. But there are so many good players out there now. I mean, they're coming from all over the world, and each one looking for a chance. And the future is bright in golf, even though they're going to split the tours, and I'm not sure how all that's going to work. But Gotterup is leading the way, and as defending champion, next week, or this week, actually, with Scotty and Rory, it's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah, it absolutely should be. Now, this might be a difficult question to ask, but who better to ask than Ted Butler, who knows more golf than I'll ever forget in my life. When it comes to kind of these up-and-coming names or guys that could be a surprise for the Scottish Open, is there any names that we could potentially be looking out for that could make a good strong push for the Scottish Open?
I would be surprised. I mean, I'm thinking with Rory playing, Wyndham Clark playing, Gotterup playing, John Rahm playing, Scotty playing, Justin Rose playing. I don't expect an unknown to come out of that in that tournament. It could.
Right.
There's a host of really great players there, and for the following week, the British Open. I mean, it's a stacked field this week.
Yeah,
I don't see a new guy winning this one.
Yeah, I don't think a new guy will win it, and I don't think a new guy has been winning. But I think there could be a surprising name up in the top of that mix. But you did mention Wyndham Clark, who undoubtedly is playing the best golf of his career. What have you made of him so far this year in the PGA?
Well, he's got a sports psychologist now that has helped him. After his outburst last year when he smashed his club in the locker room, and it made people a lot of mad. It's not good sportsmanship do stuff like that, but I think she's gotten him straightened out, and he's obviously a great player, but some great players getting mentally off. They get disturbed by mistakes they make, and they do tantrums, but I think he's on the even keel now, and there's no telling with the talent he's got where he could be going.
Yeah, absolutely, and kind of on that same wavelength too. You look at the performance that Scotty has given this year. He's only got one tournament win, and he's been in the strong mix. He's been still playing really good. The thing that I've seen with Scotty is that he gets off to a slow start, and then in the weekend on Saturday and Sunday, it seems like he shifts into another gear and really returns back to form. Is there anything that you can see that Scotty needs to do differently besides starting out of the gate strong to kind of make a strong push and potentially win this Scottish Open?
Well, I think having another child's got a lot to do with it. You know, your family life changes. He's a religious guy and maybe had other things on his mind when the tournament started, but towards the end, he's been playing great. You know, he could have won the Masters if there's one more hole. I don't see anything upsetting him this week, and he should be a factor. He's just got too much talent not to. But life changes when you get a family out there.
I know my good friend and producer Darian Newsom knows that better than I do. I do not know that, but maybe one day, Lord willing, I'll come around to understand that. But it seems kind of talking about all of these top guys, you mentioned that Rory McIlroy is definitely going to be playing in this Scottish Open, and Rory kind of won the Masters and then didn't really do much after that. I mean, he's been making some strides here and there, but then it seems that he falters later on the weekend, almost playing the reverse effect of what Scotty Scheffler's been doing this year. What have you made of Rory's performance this year?
I'm not sure where Rory is. You know,
That's fair.
This new world tour that all the stars are supposed to come to, like the Heritage and these other tournaments that he's not showing up at. I don't know whether he's making a statement or I'm not really sure with him. You know, we don't get enough good information, but there's obviously some kind of issue going on with him and the tour and what he thinks and what he's done, the way he's flipped back and forth. I don't know. He's a tough one.
Yeah. What do you think it would take to get Rory to come to Memphis? Because it seems set in stone that he's probably not going to. But what would it take for Rory to show up for the FedEx?
I don't think there's anything they could.
I really don't think there is anything.
It's not a financial matter for sure. And if he won it in his career, so what? You know, it'd be great for the tournament, but I don't see that happening.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, is there anybody that you like for the Scottish Open that you're going to be pulling, not exactly pulling heavily for to win the Scottish Open, but who do you think walks away with the championship this week?
I'm going to go a little off the rail on this and pick Justin Rose.
Okay, I like that.
Great. The last 2 years, he's been playing great golf in all the big tournaments. He's from over there, and he's a 46-year-old star, and he's my dark horse pick. Originally I was going to pick Rory last week with Dave, but I think I changed my mind. I'm going for Justin Rose.
Well, I think based on the assessment that we just gave Rory, that would be a great shift, is to go from a guy that we don't really know how to put our finger on to a guy who's a little bit more consistent in Justin Rose. So I gotta say I like that pick, and I definitely think I'll be keeping that in the back of my head when we make our picks on Wednesday here on Wolo and Friends. But I guess we'll keep our eye out for the Scottish Open this week, and we'll just see what happens. We'll see if we do have a dark horse factor. If we have a not super popular name join the top of the ranks and actually compete this week, or if we just have a heavy favorite once again. But Ted, it is always a pleasure talking with you. Next week, Wolo will be back to talk even more golf with you, but we always enjoy talking with you. You have a good one, all right?
Okay, Len. Thank you.
All right, that is our man, Ted Butler, and that is going to do it for us. A full hour talking a lot of soccer. Definitely keep your eyes peeled for the World Cup. It should be a great game between Team USA and Belgium. And we have a returning Balogun on the pitch, which means that we're going to see some excitement. I
got a little news for you too, bud. Down at AutoZone Park, watch party today. Down at AutoZone Park. Gates open at 6, kickoff at 7, people.
You heard it from the man, Darian. He's going to be back with me tomorrow. Definitely don't go anywhere, because on the other side, you've got Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. And as always, my friends, it's going to be a good day.